Hi guys, Coach Jeff here. Give me a couple minutes of your time. I want to talk to you about our Futures program, formerly known as our Junior Varsity program. It's our developmental program for our 11 to 14-year-old area athletes. So we recently changed our name to Futures because we wanted to better define what we're trying to do. We're creating future leaders, future winners, and we want to define what we want to create. And there's a quote I like, and it says, you predict the future by creating it, and that's something we want to do a better job of. And so our goal, and we want to put it out in front of everyone, is develop middle school age athletes who are capable of performing like high school athletes. So how do you get a middle school athlete that can perform like a high school athlete? Now, obviously, there's controllables and uncontrollables. You can't control their growth rate and when they reach adolescence and puberty and all those things. But the things you can control, we want to maximize. And the whole idea, right, is we want to move our athletes. This is our bell curve, and we know that about 2/3, 66%, 67% of everyone, of all athletes, are going to fall right in the middle of that curve, right? So that's considered basically an average athlete, okay? The majority of athletes, they're going to fall somewhere in the middle of that curve, okay? How do we get a 12 or 13-year-old athlete to move to the right as an outlier of this curve, so now they're performing maybe like a 14 or 15-year-old athlete is capable of? Well, using our 5 pillars of readiness, okay? So this is something new that we've created, and it's going to be kind of our guiding light. So how did we create this? Well, a combination of my experience, what we've seen, so years of practice and application, and then getting feedback. Recently, I've been in contact and a lot of communication with strength coaches all over the country through the National High School Strength and Conditioning Association, leaders and coaches in that organization, so state directors, regional directors, national directors, folks that have seen and been in the trenches for years and years working with high school athletes and literally getting feedback and saying, hey, these are what the freshmen are lacking. This is what they're missing. This is what I wish they were better developed coming in to see me as an incoming freshman into my program. Also, these are things that they could have been better prepared for. So these are all trainable things, okay? And these are things that we want to better define and improve upon, okay? So our 5 pillars of readiness: purposeful practice, relative strength and power, competition, coordination, self-belief, and work ethic. Okay, purposeful practice just means, right, there's a method behind the madness. Okay, there's not a lot of randomness in what we do. Right, there's reasons for it. We can connect the dots in our training and our workouts, and everything means something, and everything matters, and everything has a purpose. Okay, purposeful practice matters. Relative strength and power, that just meaning, can they control their own body weight well? Most of the coaches we talked to, they weren't concerned with how strong they were in the weight room. It was more, can they do a proper push-up? Can they do a proper body weight squat? Can they perform a hip hinge well? Can they land well? Can they stop well? Can they absorb force well? They weren't that concerned with speed and agility and jumping. It was, can they control the momentum that their own body creates? So relative strength and power is a big deal. Competition, right? Are they willing to push themselves to try to win under any circumstances, even under adverse circumstances? Are they still willing to give over and over and over again, even with a very real possibility of failing? So getting our athletes to compete no matter what is a big deal. And of course, coordination, okay? It's not just the movements they're doing, but how they do them, right? Can they do the movements well, with coordination, with rhythm, with body awareness, spatial skills? Do they know where they are in space and time, also known as proprioception, okay? So developing the coordination of movement. It can apply to any type of movement, change direction skills, basic movements, okay? Do they do things well? What they do they do them efficiently? Can they feel what they're doing? Okay, big deal for this age group. And then do they believe they can be great, right? Do they believe they can be this side of the bell curve, better than average? And does their work reflect that belief? Definitely the hardest one, I'll say straight up, the hardest one to develop. But if we can start 11, 12, 13, then we have the ball rolling before they get to 15, 16, 17, where they've kind of created a little more of, understanding, like, this is who I am, and this is what I'm willing to do, and this is what I'm not willing to do. So if we can start to solidify this earlier on, hey, it works to our advantage. So this is a few of the changes moving forward. Things that we're going to be more purposeful in pushing a little bit more. It's important that you understand this. If you're new to us and you're watching this maybe on Facebook, okay, this is just a little bit about our futures program for middle school athletes, kind of our intent. If you're already one of our clients, I just want to make sure that you're on the same boat with us. So our futures program, right? We are very, we put it out there. This is what our goal is, and this is exactly how we're going to do it. And we are super excited to be the leader in this field, and we're all in. So if you want to get on board, come find us, and we'll get the ball rolling for you. Take care.